Thursday, the 3rd of April 2014. Here's the latest update from Neo Keenan.
Hello, I was praying to get this out to you on the 1st so I could April Fool you, but it's the 3rd. I can't April Fool you. I'm not in the mood to fool anybody anyway. It's a lot happening at this time. It's clearly the end of the road here. The end of the game will be here as well. There might be some fighting taking place in other places, the United States and Europe. But here is where it's going to end, because if we can close these accounts down on them, it's over with, and they're already making the efforts to steal everything that they can. You have to remember, if you don't know, the Bretton Woods first Bretton Woods agreement was the theft of the global accounts, and in 1995, I believe, or 98, they then actually hijacked the accounts for a second time. So they've had two opportunities with the global accounts to steal and use them as they wish by mirroring accounts with their own financial system, which had nothing to do with the East. Yet most of the assets belong to the East. So now we're watching again. We're watching again the same thing, the attempt at stealing the assets that don't belong to them for the West from the East. They've acquired some help in the East that I wouldn't call help, and I would say that it's an error on their part, because they're working with Swiss, or they're not. I don't believe they're actually working with Swiss Indo. I think Swiss Indo is just putting names down on pieces of paper, because I know of some of the names on the paper who have actually come to visit me, and they want to know what this is about, because they're not involved in this. They have no idea what Swiss Indo is talking about, and they don't like their names on the paper. So you can probably take the paper and rip it up. But you know, if you look at what Swiss Indo is trying to do, and by the way, OPPT is back despite the fact that they claimed they dissolved their organization. They didn't dissolve their organization, or they're misusing it right now and misrepresenting themselves, which they always do. From what I've read in the documentation here, Heather Tucci, again, she made claims to the Swiss Indo that all the assets in the world basically belong to her, according to some court that ruled in her favor, which I don't think any of us know about, because if you remember properly, we kicked her to the curb. We caught her. We caught them all, Brian Kelly, her, and Paula Humphrey. But they're all in here, and their pictures are in here too, and I'll get the pictures out to you through Michael. But I'll give you a couple of names in here so you can get a whiff of what's going. Jawad Dwipa Nusantara Raya. That's one of the people who don't understand why their name is mentioned, period. Okay, that's someone we do know very well. And it doesn't make any sense. Then you got the big top royal, King of Kings, M1. You're right. The white spiritual wonder boy, all five of them created by the agency, and not a one of them real. Okay, I'm trying to give you the people you know, the names you know. I mean, there's mostly, if I gave you what I'm reading, Imam Mahdi, Duin Ikatan Document International, you know, it's names you don't recognize. Then you got Swiss Indo agreements, which, you know, they don't exist. You know, all this, we welcome you with the love. Yeah, right, we welcome you with the feeling, with the spirit of theft. Let us pick your pocket. Sounds like OPPT again, right? They also have the Committee of 300 mentioned here, and the Swiss Bankers Association, the Union Bank of Switzerland, the UN, Swiss Indo Multinational, which is nothing. Again, the top 300 organizations, IPO, whatever that is. You got the banks, the Banca Dan Rakyat Indonesia. You've got NATO, Pentagon. You know, not one of these people showed up. You got the you got BIS, you got the World Bank, IMF, and the Fed, and the head of the Fed. If you look at it like this, and you start putting all the pieces together, there's many names. You put them all together, it's a couple of criminal groups from the East attempting to steal assets over here in the East, getting the blessings of the West so that they can, the United Nations is involved, it just keeps going. United Nations, Barack Obama, G7, G20, G25, G253. All this is involved, according to them. And it's not actually true, even though they've had their pictures in the papers here, and they've had their pictures in the papers in Hong Kong and so on. The person here again is the same person as before, Mr. A1 Sino, not Eddie Sino, A1 Sino. I believe he also has another name called, I believe, Soji Hatono Tongoro. That's my belief. And Joe, Joe, you're the Indonesian. You saw the name on the paper. Is that a second name?
No. Most Japanese have only one name.
Then what is that name, Soji
Sugiharto Notonegoro.
What is it?
Well, if he's a royal, he may have two names then.
What does IR mean? Engineer?
Engineer. That's a education title. Insinyur.
Okay, so he's an engineer, actually, in Aprianto. But here we've got Swiss Indo and OPPT and Kazumo's here as well. So you've got all the names here of the West, and you got the West merging. If you wanted to believe this, you got the West. You got the power of attorney of attorney, general power of attorney, Zurich, Switzerland. You've got the Tucci Giraffe, and many other things here that are tied in. This is not real. There's no question about it. But what it does is it makes the real world sweat about what's happening. And and these people here are trying to tie in, because they're bad. They're not solid. They're trying to tie in what's bad in our world, the West world, with what they have here. And if they do that, they would steal some assets, I believe. They work at Commerzbank in Germany has been known to deal with con artists, and their names mentioned in here quite heavily. And if we like I said, Commerzbank is here very heavily, from what I see. If we looked at this and the way it's supposed to be looked at, it's the bad guys in the West merging with the bad guys in the East, and they're trying to steal the assets a third time. That's what I would have to believe. I'm not happy with what I see, but I want you to know that they're not rolling over and playing dead. The bad guys come up and they surface and they try to put something together to stir up the pot and maybe get lucky. Here's a letter to Paula Humphreys in Tangier, Morocco, and you know why they're in Tangier, Morocco as well as I do. That's where they ran to. Now we're looking at this, and it claims that they have the assets from the accounts, and they won all the money, and basically they won nothing. They won nothing. But again, if the people that don't know, they're going to be thinking that this thing is happening. But if this thing happens, you can kiss our backsides goodbye, because what it would mean is that the accounts have been hijacked again by the West. Okay, and that's not going to happen, because that road has to come through here. And it doesn't matter who comes, it's not going to happen here. Now, it just goes on and on. As they usually do, they've got names everywhere. And pictures everywhere, global immunities everywhere. That it reminds me a little bit of an OITC situation where they do things. See, here's a picture that from the, what is this? It's called the Global Immunity Human Obligations, and it means absolutely nothing. UBS is involved, and according to them, and Brussels, Belgium, of course, is involved. They see it here. So, you know, this was an attempt at hijacking the system. The West, if you want to believe what you're seeing, I don't, but you never know here in this game. If you want to believe what you're seeing, you're looking at the West using the weak links to help them get into the system itself over here, help them to get what's underground here, help them to get what's in the warehouses here. It's just another attempt to steal. They're offering Indonesia 80 billion in 11 years. Everybody's going to be getting money, including me, by the way. They sent me an email. You know, that's more than likely for me to go away, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. And here's the, I think this is the grantee, the following grantee. OPPT, One People Public Trust, Heather Tucci Jarrett, Paula Humphrey. So, you know, we're going back in time here, and they're working their way back, trying to get their foot into something with the white spiritual wonder boy. And, you know, he's been kicked to the curb so many times, I'm surprised he still gets up. And others. I mean, you know, I'm looking at the names. They've put a lot of names down here, and in office addresses again, and the Sumitas building tower, which we've already visited in the past, and we know that they don't have an office there. So, you know, you can take this and, well, you can make these papers, I guess, and to the toilet and do what you have to do with them. You can use them. That's about the only value they have. You know, other than the fact that, you know, we've got to request that that maybe not the governments, because a lot of the governments are working with the West, but maybe that we can get some legal organization, some governmental organization to start issuing arrest warrants for people who hold such meetings in an attempt to con or destroy the financial system of the world. And I'm not talking about the existing financial system of the world, because that's destroyed. I'm talking about what will be a new financial system if we're able to protect the documents. I mean, I'm looking at things here. Sakano, yeah, it's engineer Suji Hatono. Joe.
Yeah.
Suji Hatono, engineer Suji Hatono. Because it's prepared by Tetra Tech for engineer Sakano to engineer Suji Hatono. You know, I'm looking at numbers here again that they come from these. The beneficiary, for example, Afghanistan would be 45 billion, 15 million, $292,000. Okay, I don't even know what I'm getting, but these are all numbers like the time when we had that little video, and everybody was going to get something. Everybody in the world was going to get something. You know, I wonder how much Rhode Island's going to get. Oh, that's right, it's the United States. Forget it, you guys. You're not getting anything. It's Obama. Bulgaria. Yeah, they're getting 15,982,442,000. So, I mean, all total, though, they get 55,960,320,000. That's not bad for Bulgaria. Cambodia's in there, too. Pretty good. But in China, of course, they're using the Chinese money illegally. Of course, China has to be in that. Anyway, it's not going to happen, okay? Let's stop now me talking about them, because these are all the countries now that are getting money from Swiss Indo. Should their con work? There's pictures of the meetings and so on, and you know, in a way, if the money could get out that easily, it would be great, because you wouldn't have to give it to the West. The West is, they're the ones coming in trying to steal. Now that's the second part to this story, and I'm sorry if I dragged that out, but there's so many names in this thing, and so many variables that in my head, my head's floating with it about what they're doing, and I understand what they're doing, and they're going to keep doing it until somebody puts them in jail. So I mean, I'm hoping that the Indonesian government would look at what they're doing, because we've gone through this before, and it would be time, I think, for them to do so. I'm looking here at more of the same thing. So I'm not going to do that to you, because I'm doing it to myself too when I do it to you, and I don't like it. But the attempts by the Swiss Indo have been made here, and also in Hong Kong with the government of Laos. They're working with the government of Laos, from what I gather. They had a big meeting there a couple of weeks ago, and the government of Laos is now involved. But and this is the joke to the whole thing. How can the government of Laos be involved in anything, especially contributing the funds to such a thing, when they can't take care of themselves? They can't do it. So the government of Laos, you can forget about that meeting too, because they don't have anything. If they did, they wouldn't be looking for money from everybody all over the world. It wouldn't happen like that. So let's just call it what it probably is. It's probably another Swiss Indo-OPP attempt to steal, because I can't foresee or see any organizations working with them. Although these organizations in the West, they're getting beat right now, so they might be desperate enough to look out and look in that direction. Now let me go into the second part to this thing, and tell you that Count Albert, to the person you see with me in the picture on my site, the Chinese individual, the gentleman there, he's a great guy. In the beginning, my relationship with him was not so good, because he doesn't know that, but there was another guy by the name of Count Albert, I understood from Belgium, although I'm learning now it might be Austria. And that Count Albert is a thief. And according to Dr. Van der Meer, he wanted to talk to me. And I never called him. I never wanted to speak to him. He's a thief. But when I first spoke to Count Albert, the Chinese Count Albert, I thought he was the same. And I would tell him, I'm not going to work, I don't want anything to do with you. I used to tell Dr. Van der Meer, the guy's no good, the guy's not this, the guy's not that. Don't mistake one for the other. The first Count Albert is Count Verdict Albert. And he is, I think he's in Italian jail right now. And the other one is our Count Albert, S.C. Chang. And he can be anywhere he wants in the world. With the kings and the queens or the presidents or whatever. I mean, he can also be with people like ourselves. I mean, he steps down, he steps up. He's a real wonderful guy. So don't misunderstand between the two. Most recently, you don't know the name yet, I don't believe, Austrian Uncle Burdick, and calls himself Count Albert. He was just arrested in Italy, from what I gather, with those notes the other day, along with Owen Thomas Lennon. They had set this thing up in the Vatican a year ago, March 11th, and they came back to finish off what they started, from what I gather. But the Guardia di Finanza in Rome, they got involved, and they put their foot in there, behind the Ivano General Marconi. He stayed up and he got this thing done, and he brought them to their knees a little bit. It was also, the investigation was coordinated by the public prosecutor and the Capitoline, they had the military involved as well, the first group under the command of Colonel Daniel Sanopo. My information is first rate. It's not, the others I see don't have names. They can't tell you too much about it. I can tell you what happened. This was an attempt by Count Albert and the Vatican, where the Vatican was going to accumulate trillions and trillions of dollars. And Count Verdict Albert, or let's use the name they give him here. Verdict, let's use the name they gave him here. Zvanko Verdict. Albert's not mentioned. He would have had a guarantee or a credit line extended to him for billions and billions of dollars had it worked. But it was stopped by the financial police, who in my matter, in my $1 trillion case, they were in it up to their necks, as well as in the Yamaguchi case. They were in it up to their necks. So, as a matter of fact, by the purchasing of the Banco de Lugano in Lugano, which was going to be done by Berlusconi, that was, again, the financial police involved. All the notes they had stolen over the last 15 years were going to be taken and placed into a bank that Berlusconi was going to purchase using the purchasing power of a Brazilian gentleman who didn't know he was getting involved in criminal activity, and also a trader out of Geneva who also didn't know he was getting involved in criminal activity. But those notes would then go into the United Nations sovereign program, and it would stay there for 20 years, accumulating 20 to 30%, and you're talking trillions of dollars. And the monies would have gone out to Berlusconi into their private bank accounts all over the world, and other people, people in the UN, people in the World Economic Forum, in countries in Western Europe. It was all set, in the United States, as well as the Queen was involved too. So they got caught. They had all these documents, and they were confused, by the way. You know, when they got caught, the Italians, they were confused as to what they were, because they were so big and so valuable, and they were pulling one out after another. And boy, the numbers sounded fantastic for the Vatican. You know, they were going to get this, they were going to get that. But then what happened is they decided to search the hotel room of Count Verdict Albert. I keep saying his name the way it's supposed to be, Verdict Albert. But again, it's something Verdict, right? I keep going back. Zvanko Verdict. It's Zvanko Verdict Albert, the name. And so they don't even have the right name there. But they went into the hotel room, and the Michelangelo Hotel pretty close to the Vatican, and they did a search of the room, and they found all these other notes there, with also correspondence from the United Nations and from all these places, and they were taken back by them, actually, initially, until they found a bag with stamps and seals and everything else, and everything that's needed to make counterfeit notes. So up until that point, they were safe. They were probably going to walk away, and then that one bag with all these stamps and seals and everything else in it appeared, and that was it. That was the end of the deal. That's what you read about. You read about the attempted passing of the notes. Well, there was a lot more than that. There's a lot of people involved in it, and the Vatican was involved, and so many banks again were involved as well. I underlined here. Investigators have identified the accommodations of the two as being the Hotel Michelangelo, not far from the Vatican, and they made a thorough search of their rooms. And what they did was they found an enormous amount of documents. Albert again, Count Albert again, the bad Count Albert. 2 Dutch, both valid, and 1 Malaysian. Then they passed the UN. They also had UN diplomatic immunity status. Billions made out to the Canadian credit cards that were issued by the Bank of China, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Banco Bilbao Vizcaya Argentina, and others. But that turns out to be false as well, because they didn't have that kind of money. So they found the letters sent to the international bodies and everything else. But in the end, they found the falsified documents. They found the stamps, the seals, and everything else. So you can see there's a pattern happening now. People are moving, people are doing things, they're trying to get a hold of the assets. You got not OITC. It's something similar though with when you talk about Swiss Indo, and and you have the spiritual white boy coming out of nowhere again after being spanked enough times in his lifetime, and you've got Count Verdict Albert going and doing something in Italy with this person named Lenin. Now, Bedford International is a financial concern in Canada, and I know for a fact that Dr. Vandermeer used to tell me that I should call Count Verdict Albert at this Bedford International financial concern. So they don't know this yet, but Bedford belongs to Count Verdict Albert, whatever his name is. So, you know, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you that there's connections now to the funds and how everybody is trying to take off with them, use them illegally, and should they be able to do so, then you're talking about they control the system again for another 60 years, 100 years, and that's going to be hell for us. We're not going to be here. We won't make it through. We're dead. We're dead. I got out of bed just in time. As some of you might know, I was a bit sick. But,
There you go. Wait.
you see that?
Let me try to zoom it. Yeah.
That's one picture. Here's a picture of this casino, and he's signing, what's it, $100 bills? It's either 100 or 100, it doesn't matter. It's paper money that hasn't even been cut yet. And he's putting his signature on them, and as if that's going to do something. But, you know, we've seen it before. It's some more people signing. Everybody signed, it seems. Everybody in the world. Everybody in the world who wants to make a dollar. All OPPT people who believe in saying they believe they're going to get money, they probably came. Here's some members of the OPPT in this picture, along with others, and we do have other pictures, yes. This one we've already seen. You know, it gets you a little nervous. I had people in Hong Kong say, what the hell is going on, Neil? They have this big meeting being held over here. Here's the pictures of the OPPT Swiss Indo once again in their attempts to steal a system that doesn't belong to them. OPPT still in Wonderland, trying to steal what nobody will ever give them. So, you know, that's that. Now, you know, I can go further, and I will, a little further. That's, you know, that's enough to tell you that there's all kinds of crap going on over here that we have to be careful about, because if we make one mistake and something does happen like what they want, it's the end. It's the end. And there's only, as you know, the team that we have here is a good team. They work hard, they watch, they smell, they do all the things that we're supposed to do to keep our ears to the ground and get the information we need to stop things from happening. Other things that have happened here, similar, again, it's becoming, everything is becoming more, it's becoming closer to the global accounts. Everything now. What happened in Italy, what happened with this make-believe group, the make-believe groups here who signed papers with who knows, and which means nothing. And then you have the Committee of 300, George Soros, and members of some banks here and others who have access, legitimate access to accounts through their mothers, their fathers, which has been turned over to them, and so much more. People have gone into hiding. My first couple of weeks here, well, other than getting sick, you know, I didn't really get to see the people I wanted to see because they were hiding from Queen Elizabeth's people with the Committee of 300. They were hiding from George Soros, who was over here. That's when I got bit by this robotic bug, actually. And then to go further, we have their own people over here trying to root them out, trying to sit them down and offer them tons of money if they give up the accounts, so if they sign off on the accounts that belong to their mothers and fathers, or even themselves. So it's going on. We're now talking about the money game. It's no longer the people in the middle of the road. It's all about the money game. And that's going to be a son of a gun, because that road is here. You know, I started on this, like I said, this yellow brick road a long time ago, And we went down many rabbit holes, but still was a yellow brick road. And if you look at my website, neilkeenan.com, what you see is walking on the yellow brick road, and you see George Soros and Rockefeller and Rothschild all looking out from the city, looking at us, watching us. And that's what's happening. And we're getting to the end of this road now, and they're all in that place watching us. Because if they can't get through us, then they have a problem. They have a problem. And so many of you people have offered me help. I mean, you want to come over here, you want to hang them by the neck, but they're not here most likely, so you're wasting your time and money. There's no reason for all of us to be targets when we already have enough targets. So, I don't mind being the target. They don't usually get me, but Jesus, a robot, a bug. Oh, unbelievable. Never would have believed it if Joe hadn't slapped it and caught it and threw it on the thing. We were running after it. I was yelling at Joe, get it. I mean, you want to talk about a cartoon? This was a cartoon. The Three Stooges skit or somebody else. But, wow, that thing we killed it 5 times. Joe killed it 3 or 4 times. And as soon as he walked away, fly after him. I mean, Joe's legs are in the air trying to get it. His arms are up. And then it saw me, I think, and I was the target. Whoa. For a second time. But that's over with for now. But the bottom line is that the road will come through here. They want the gold. They're trying to steal it wherever they can get it. They want their dollars even back, the ones that they issued for the payment, for the leasing of the gold for the U.S. dollar, the international dollar. They're trying to get that back, those dollars back. As a matter of fact, they're not allowing them to be processed, even though they printed them. And that's going to be another thing that's going to have to happen. Maybe a lawsuit will be tossed into the courts with their notes. And let them defend themselves then. That may be the way to take it down. Come after them with their own notes in a court of law, the ones they won't allow anyone to use, despite the fact they've been using the gold to back the U.S. dollar. And don't mistake me. You've never got to use the gold. They did. Okay? You never got to use them. I never got to use them. They did. So, all in all, it's been a run. And they're running after the people here trying to get what they can get. We haven't gotten too much yet. But they're not over. They're not done with. And I'm healthy now. Pretty healthy, you can see. I have a few people coming over. And there'll be people who are very good at what they do. And we'll take care of the situation ourselves here. We're at the end of that road, that yellow brick road. We're getting there. And I can only see trouble lying ahead, I don't see, there's no such thing as peaceful settlement. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a rough road. And if we win, we get the whole caboodle. And then you have to decide what you want to do with these people. They've got these electric guillotines in the United States for you. And they probably have something for the Indonesian people and everyone else too. But the bottom line is maybe we'll get to use them on them. If you've looked at the seismic activity charts throughout the United States and around the world right now, they've activated many places, especially in the United States, including even Smithfield, Rhode Island, and Rentham, Massachusetts, and which are very close to each other, really. And also in Connecticut, Yale, where Yale is, New Haven. They've got New York targeted. I have the information here. But the U.S. is pretty well. A lot of Idaho, a lot of Wyoming. The Yellowstone is, as you know, the animals are leaving Yellowstone right now. They're running out. And an animal can smell danger. They leave when they smell danger. And they're on the road running. The bisons are running. So that's just one of the animals. So, we have a lot of work to do. And, by the way, I know I'm feeling better when I want to fight. At one time I didn't care. I ran my business, I minded my business. But with all this that's going on, you have to fight these people. You cannot not fight them. And You know, you get to meet a lot of assholes along the way. Excuse my language, but you get to meet a lot of them. You know, people you don't even want to know. And one of those people, this was my test, I guess. You know, on one of the sites last night, I was just looking at it, and yeah, I play that little bouncing ball game because it keeps my head straight when I'm sick and things. And oh, by the way, I'm number one, despite being sick. And you know, I'm on this page, and this woman comes on. What was her name? Julie Garfinkel. And she comes on and she says, "I'd rather kiss a dolphin than a guy." You know, if we say something like that, we get our asses handed to us. So, you know, I decided I was going to comment, and I said maybe the dolphin wouldn't want to kiss her either. You know, you ever think of that? She was long in the tooth, wasn't any prima donna, and you know, she probably was a very good person, but she made a mistake in what she said. And she came back, and you know, I'm not gonna stay still, so I came back, and then she had some guy named Bollocks. Bollocks, you know bollocks are in English, you know, and this guy didn't have any bollocks, and he said, "Neil, you're eating too much salsa, you better slow it down." And my answer is basically, "Or what?" You know, that means I'm getting better. Or what? And what they did is they put it on this person's site, the comments that I made, they put it on, as though I put it on, and I got blocked. So, you know, I know now that that bollocks is without bollocks, and I know Garfinkel is long in the tooth, and it doesn't matter if I've been blocked or not. It was a friend. You don't like that to happen, but I never had a chance to explain, nor do I want to now. It's over with. It's over with. I don't care right now. It's jerked me off to the point I don't care, but I will see bollocks. Now, how's that? That's when I know I'm okay, when I'm taking the little fights as well as the big fights. We're almost there, people. I think you know it, you smell it yourself. You got to be careful. It's happening. There's going to be a lot of things coming down, and they're not going to be what you think. And we all have to be ready. Every one of us. You know, some people are involved in the ascension and things like, and other things like that. Well, God bless them. I just don't think they should be stepping out of the house too often once this thing starts. I understand that there's UN troops underground in the U.S. now. I've heard that. If that's the case, then Obama is, you know, he signed the Monsanto document, he signed the Bill of Rights document. I mean, he's been signing documents, so you know he's not going away, not so easily. So we'll deal with that too. We have to deal with that. Now, my last note, because I think this is 20 minutes already, John, yeah? Longer. Okay, my last note, it would be, Rick Light, I'm sorry, I was very sorry to hear that your wife passed. Very sorry, and my heart goes out to you, and the entire Keenan team. Gene, everybody's hearts, they go out to you. You know, we might say things sometimes that we don't like, but the bottom line is we don't ever like what happened to you. I pray you get strong, you stay strong, and you stay healthy, and we can all finish this thing up together as it should be. Take care, Rick. Okay, take care, God bless. And everyone else, please say a prayer for Robin Light, and pray that she's watching over Rick. Okay, and everything he does. I wish you all well. I'm not going to yell tonight. I yell all the time. Come on, give me a break. Stop pulling my leg. Listen, geez, there was no yelling. There doesn't need to be yelling all the time. I have a sore throat. I have a sore throat. So I wish you well. Just understand that this game is now it's coming down to the financing part over here, and this is what the whole ball game is: the money. I'm not leaving, the Keenan team's not leaving, and we'll be standing in the middle of the road when they try to get to the accountants. We will be there fighting. So we wish you well, count on us, and we'll talk to you later. Take care, good night, have a great week. Bye-bye.